What's happening, everybody? All right, so this is the video I was going to bring to you today regarding the ever so popular growing term of PDW, what it really constitutes, and what really fits into the best PDW that you can possibly have. So, what is a PDW? Let's start with just kind of defining the terms here. So it is a personal defense weapon or defensive weapon. And what makes it a unique marketplace for PDWs right now is that there are lots and lots and lots of options out there. And more so probably over the last year or two now, there have been a lot of rifle caliber PDWs that have entered the marketplace. So we know about the Sig Rattler, the Honey Badger. We know that Springfield's got the new Saint pistols that are out there. They've got the Maximum Defense PDWs. There's all kinds of different weapon systems out there that are really short barrels, and they feature a rifle round. And that is opposed to what I kind of would think that prior to all that stuff, we were talking about PDWs as being more of like the SMG platforms, like the submachine guns, 9mm caliber, 45 caliber, 10mm, and what have you. So really it comes down to what makes them different and what is the best way to go if you're looking for a PDW. Which caliber are you better off with, a PCC or a pistol caliber carbine? Are you better off with a rifle round? And just like our last video regarding the FN 509 tactical pistol and the Glock 30, I was mentioning that it really is, it comes down to exactly what you're going to be using it for, what environment you're in, and what purpose it will serve. So it's easy to say that it's a loaded question, it's a loaded answer. But I've had a video before where I had a Rattler 556, and I put it up against the Honey Badger, and I just kind of talked about how, to me, the Rattler 556 was the better option, just because there was more of that 556 or 223 caliber available in case you needed to resupply and whatnot. But kind of rethinking it over the course of the last few months, I've leaned more towards the pistol caliber carbines in my specific, for my specific purpose, and I'll tell you why. Actually, a buddy of mine had purchased the Sig Rattler 556 as well, and he absolutely loved it, was sold on it, thought that it was perfect for his all-around do-it-all gun, and ended up selling it shortly after, because once he finally shot it, he realized that, I don't know how practical this thing is going to be, and we'll get into why. But really, it comes down to this. Ask yourself, if you're in a personal defense situation, is this going to be a situation that's going to occur within your household, within your neighborhood? Shit hits the fan and you're just kind of all over the place. Are you law enforcement? Are you in the military? Are you outdoors? Are you indoors? More often than not, all of that comes into play when picking out a PDW. And for me, it simply comes down to a couple simple questions that you got to ask yourself. So if you're indoors versus outdoors, that's huge, because the rifle round is not going to do very well indoors. And it's not going to do well indoors for several reasons. A, it's way too damn loud to fire a rifle round indoors, and to not expect that you're going to have some concussive forces that are going to give you a pretty good jarring, and maybe throw you out of the fight. And that's obviously a worst case scenario. However, it's very possible that a couple of shots out of a 5.56, or for example, or a 300 blackout indoors would be enough concussive force to disorientate somebody, including yourself. And it's also going to be a couple of rounds that may over penetrate. And if you're, if you're clearing houses, or if you are indoors for whatever reason, it may not be the safest option. With pistol caliber carbines, I guess the risk is that maybe it's just not enough penetration. So if you are looking at something that's at a greater distance away, which kind of defeats the definition of a personal defense weapon. If something's, over 100 yards away, it's probably not an imminent threat. So you likely wouldn't need something that can go out further than that. However, let's just say that if you need to make your shot count from a further distance away, a pistol caliber is usually going to be a little bit tougher to use in those situations. However, indoors, it would be excellent to use a pistol caliber, just because it's going to be a somewhat slower round, quieter round, and a round that will hit with a little bit more force at shorter distances. So with all that being said, there's so many awesome options on the market, and I can't tell you enough that regardless of what you choose, whether it be a rifle round or a pistol caliber round, it's so awesome that in today's marketplace, in the gun world, we can have this debate and nobody could be wrong about it, because there's just so much stuff out there and it's really exciting to see. So, definitely don't take this as this is the right tool for you type of thing. It's more just to get you thinking about asking yourself those questions before you go in to buy any of these. Because one thing I can tell you definitively is that these guns that are PDWs are not cheap. The ones that I mentioned, the Saint Edge, the Springfield Saint lineup is probably the best value. And they're still coming in anywhere from $1,500 to up to $2,500 now. So they're not cheap either. But some of these other guns, the Honey Badger, the Rattler, they're well above the $2,000 mark and just going up. The Honey Badgers are selling for over $3,000 now. The SMG-45 that's here at the bottom, selling for over $3,000 now. The APC9 to the left is selling for, $2,500 or so. And even though this APC223 is not necessarily a PDW, it's just a short barrel rifle, and that kind of fits the mold. It'd probably be needing to be a little bit shorter for it to qualify as a PDW. However, you kind of get what I'm talking about here, is that a lot of these options that are out there with these short barreled PDWs are pretty up there in terms of price. So it's really critical to start thinking about all these questions now. Start questioning what the right fit is now before you go invest, because chances are, if you made the wrong choice, you're going to lose a bit of money. And by a bit, I mean a pretty good chunk. So ask yourself the environment you're in now. In my buddy's case, he lives in an urban area, lives in a building, and he just needed to shoot that thing at an indoor range, that Rattler 5.56, in order for him to realize right away that he had made a mistake, right? So he went out and grabbed the APC9 Pro, loves it to death, same gun that you see here to the left. So that was a more practical option for him, and it makes perfect sense why it would be. So just something to think about, some food for thought. It's a big time. It's not really a debate right now. People are kind of buying, both types. Most people have both, right? They'll have a pistol caliber carbine and they'll have a rifle bearing PDW as well. And, they'll make do with whatever the situation is. But if you can only afford to have one and you want the do-it-all gun, right, it really, really should be a matter of trying to evaluate your particular situation and your environment and trying to figure out what is most practical for that. So if I was living out in the sticks, and I don't have a neighbor within, a quarter mile of me, I'd probably be looking more at a honey badger or a rattler or what have you in a rifle round, maybe even something longer like this APC223 up top. And I wouldn't be looking at, a 9mm or 45 or a 10mm sub gun, just because it just wouldn't be practical. It probably wouldn't go out to the distances that I would need it to and what have you. So something to think about, and hopefully it'll save you guys some money and some time by thinking about it now versus thinking about it after you've already made your purchase. So any questions, comments, please leave them in the comment section. I will be glad to answer them for you. But outside of that, just some playful debate here. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video.